Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to this semi-planned, that's the first time I organize a stream and I schedule it the night before. Doesn't mean that there's much more planning to it, but at least I was like, tomorrow I'm gonna do this because I'm excited. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Let me mute the video like I do at the start of every stream. Done. Say hello in the comments just so I know that things are working. So, where is my comments? Here. What I want to do today is work on the thinkmill.com website, which is Thinkmill's company website, which is built with Astro, Tailwind CSS, and Keystatic. To some degree, there's not much in Keystatic at this point. So the site was built, let me change so I can show it to you. The site was built in Astro version 1, so a while ago, before content collections. So a lot of the content that you see, particularly like our case studies here, are built with just Astro files. We got a bunch of Astro files in the directory, and then we use astro.glob to get that list and then render it. And then each of these are built as single Astro files. And the idea, because now I'm getting more comfortable with the new content components in Keystatic that are quite capable, is to outline the different component blocks that would consist of building case studies. Oi. Just the dog, you can be here, but you can't bark if you're here. So there's testimonials, there's these like image left, text right, and sometimes the image is on the right, the text on the left, like here. I want to identify these different components and then see if I can do some sort of page builder to... I'm not going to replace the case studies with Keystatic in this stream because there's a bunch of layers to peel the way they're constructed. For example, there's the case studies have their own types, which were before the Zod config and content collection. So it wouldn't be just like a lift and shift, but the idea is to see if I can prototype a new case studies page that doesn't exist and recreate something that lets you build pages like that on the fly. Which, because this sort of content is written and requested by business, although everyone at Thinkmill is a practitioner, there's not many people that are not designers or devs, but you still want to allow more people than engineers themselves to create content, which is really driving the business and adoption and stuff like this. Case studies, developers are not necessarily the best people for writing case studies. Some of them are. All right, so let me show you what is currently in Keystatic. We have a few lists of things, mostly arrays of data, and we also have the blog. And of course, as the tradition wants, the lawnmower just started out the window as I start streaming. So the blogs, namely the articles there on the right, are all created in Keystatic with the traditional document fields. And I say traditional because there is a new up and coming on the block experimental markdoc field, which we're going to use today. So we leave that alone with the document field for now. But if I go to, woo, this is tiny. If I go to /Keystatic, this is the admin UI for the Thinkmill site. And you can see that there's, let me get my glasses because this is very small for old fat Simon. I can see. You can see we have tags. These are literally... This could be one file with an array because this is literally... Oh no, okay, there's different types. Okay, that's why. There's authors, which is people that write stuff. And the blog post is the main big content collection, I guess. You can see there's a few component blocks and then a bunch of metadata. But right now, there is no such thing as case studies or work items. And if I go back to the localhost 4321 in a different tab, this here, these case studies is one I want to try to prototype in Keystatic. And this is going to be the topic of today. Hello, Wayland. Hello, Jordy. And hello, again, Ayorinde. I don't know how you pronounce your name, but you helped me tremendously last time. Thank you so much, and thanks for being back. What we're going to do is, okay, let me show you the code. Zip, zoop. I want the Explorer, Dora the Explorer. There you go. I zoomed the level to level 2. So this is our Keystatic site. Oh, I forgot to mention, this was built with Astro version 1, but yesterday I've merged a PR where I've upgraded Astro to latest version. Look at this, 4.3.6. So we're rocking, excuse me, I just gotta put my phone on silent. We're rocking the latest version of Astro, and also the Keystatic core and Astro packages. So Codebase, we have all our pages as Astro sites tend to in here. And so you can see that for the blog, I am using get collections from Astro, and then we get all the collections and also external articles, which is another collection. And then the slug page, we use get entry, I guess. Get entry by slug, which has changed to get entry now. This is what I mean by it was built in previous. A lot of code is still works, but it's not like the latest way to do things. There's a lot of things to do on this website, but what I want to focus on just now is just that layer of the onion of the content collections for the case studies. So speaking of case studies, if I go to work, which is where we currently have our case studies, and I find the index page, you can see here that we do the thing that I mentioned, astro.glob, and we get all the Astro files inside the current directory, which are these ones. And then if I open any individual file, you'll see that there is something that screams store that in a CMS if you can, if you want. You can see that we have this meta object, which is a case study meta type. And so we have the title. And that's what I mean. This is not a Zod thing. It's a self-made, manually typed thing that we did before content collections and before the Zod config. So title, description, image, an array of tags, which is actually a relationship to the tags collection that we've seen. If I go back, nope. If I go here in tags, this is a collection that has all these strings. And then we do, what am I doing? And then we do a reference to these. So it's actually an array of reference slugs that I want to do here. Right now it's just an array, manually maintained. Related could be a relationship. And then here's the interesting part. So this is an Astro file, and it's using components that passes some of this data. There's a container component, which you can see is a wrapper with some props, and then inside there's some formatted text. This container has 6 or 7 different crops and can be output as a different tag if needed. And it's used throughout the whole Thinkmill website. This might not be the best solution, but when we built the site without knowing what it was going to look like, we knew that we wanted a different set of max width containers, sometimes full width with the background color, vertical padding. And so we created that container component. And if we look at any page, it's very often every block is wrapped in one of these containers. So if I go there, container, and then container, and then container, and you get the ID. So if I inspect this component, this is not the best. I would probably use like a TypeScript lookup object. Actually, that's what we do, and we do key. Okay. So our container has a tag that can be one of these three, because we don't want to let people use like a footer or something for a container section. And then optional classes, if you want to add on-the-fly Tailwind classes to do some bespoke tweaks. The reality is, if you don't have that, people will always send you a message saying, hey, this weird special case, we need have a border top 2 pixel, whatever. So you allow classes, and then they get spread probably. Ooh, outer styles, inner styles. Okay, so the class becomes the outer styles, and then they get passed here. And then the tag comes here. Oh, we do this like this because sometimes we have a full width where we want the styles before the max width container is applied. So I think this container component, let's not decide if it's good or bad, but let's try to recreate this so people can use that in Keystatic. That's basically where I'm looking at. I'm not trying to refactor the website with better primitives. I'm really trying to say, hey, what would it take to take this existing setup and allow someone to have a container in Keystatic, and then inside put a text and image, and basically have these building blocks that you can see. There's the video frame, there's a card list. And if we look at another, there might be a few more. Header, container. Okay, so it looks like every case study starts with a highlight inside a container. It's narrow and section tag. Let me check dovetail. So it should have this highlight. Yeah. So to me, it looks like the header and then the highlight is not part of the flow, like case study WYSIWYG. It's like metadata, and then it starts from here. So what I mean, if we look at vocal, you'll have the title, description, the tags, the cover image, and the highlights. And then really, if I scroll, this here is where the custom blocks start. If we look at another one like reckon, same deal, tac, 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 and tac. And so we start here. So we're not going to build the header component as a reusable block. It's like literally part of the layout. And so is the highlight. And basically, we're going to focus on what comes after. So testimonial is one. This is just a free-form text inside a narrower container, I imagine. You can see the width is narrow. This one is a little bit more wide, maybe the block boxed one. And you might see a full width. So that's image left, image right. Let me find another case study that has this full width container with color. I think I've seen one in vocal where it gets black. Yes. So that's a full width container, which is the reason we have this outer style. So we can apply them, the padding and the background color outer. But then you still want a container here. And so I think the first thing we're going to build is a container component, because this is the building blocks for every single section of any. If we look at any case study, every block is going to be wrapped inside a container. And it's not just the case studies, the whole website. If I go to the contact page index, there's a container like that's the building primitive for every layout. See, even here. So my assumption is py default is the padding vertical default, which was applied by default, but maybe we've decided to not have it built in, and then when you want the default padding, you just opt in there. It's a valid decision, because there's a fine line between the baked in defaults versus making it more like controlled and intentional. So, first thing to do, I'm not going to try to convert the existing work files here and make a mess. So I'll create a completely new page that we will call case studies. Yeah, and let's call it even more specifically named Keystatic case studies. And that's like a WIP, work in progress. And I'll just copy the index page from the work. I'm probably going to delete most of that, but that's gonna make us a starting point. Let's see the comments quickly. Hello, Jack. Thanks for joining. Question, does the website allow creating pages with the building blocks, or is it just blog entries? Right now it's only the blog posts that have this rich text here, which is the document field. And you can see that there's the normal WYSIWYG H2 list, whatever, but then we created this looping video, embed, and aside. And these are custom components that we've created in the Keystatic config. But as you can see, the layout you see here is the traditional content component blocks, pardon. And we're going to, they're good, but they had certain limitations that the new experimental field is trying to smash the barriers of what's possible. And I think it's doing a good job. So instead of using the traditional document, the toolbar is going to look exactly the same, but it's going to use the experimental. So this is using Slate, which is a WYSIWYG editor tool. And the new one is using, or is inspired by Prose Mirror. I think it started with Prose Mirror and then it kind of ejected because of certain needs that weren't met. But there's definitely inspiration and compatibility with Prose Mirror ecosystem. So I hope that answers the question. So let me go back to the, I've created a page that probably will break because of certain, I created the Keystatic case studies page. Yeah, so Astro Glob is trying to look for all the Astro files inside that directory, but there's none. See, that's this here. So actually, I don't know if I should have copied that. Really what I wanted was just the layout. Let me get rid of all the fetching. Yeah, the description can stay the same. Let's get rid of that. Astro instance. So now, why are you not happy with the layouts? I feel like they're correct still, the path. I'll just reload the window and it should go away. Yes, looks like it. All right, so obviously if we loop through case studies, it's not gonna work. Let me just delete all of that. I don't know if copying the template was the best, but we are here. So now we should have this hello page, and let's change the title to a Keystatic case studies. And I'm not really gonna build that page, but mostly use it to pretty print, stringify some data, and then work our way through individual entries. Any questions? With the new MDX features, can I use my Astro Quick component? Oh, Jack, yes. I know who you are now. I've just put the link between you and the GitHub issue or discussion with the Quick template. Can I use my Astro Quick component directly? So, you cannot in the admin UI, because the admin UI is expecting React components. If you wanted to display the same components in the admin UI, But you can do what I'm going to do now, because Astro is the same thing. Astro components are not React. You just use the default UI that we provide to populate the data. And then on the front end, you can use whatever you want, because the new MDX and MarkDoc fields, instead of using this document renderer like the traditional document field does, it lets you instead, or it makes you use whatever tools available to render MDX or MarkDoc. So in my case, I'm going to use Astro's content component, which comes from content collections. And so at this point, Astro determines how the thing is rendered. So it's not really Keystatic related. Keystatic is here to create the data, and then we make sure that Astro knows what to do with it by registering some components in the MarkDoc config. And with MDX, I would be the same. You would have a MDX renderer. You can use Astro's one. I guess it works with Quick. I don't know how Quick works. But if there's a way to render MDX with Quick, use that. And then you can use any Quick components that you've built, as long as you can pass them to that renderer. I hope that answers the question. It's specific to every framework, but most frameworks have a way to render MDX, and if they have, you can use that without a problem. Keystatic is just going to basically replace you handwriting and hand editing MarkDoc MDX files. It's just going to provide a UI to manage this, but rendering it is still your job, I guess. All right. So why don't we? I think I'll go to the live site to have an extra page. Thinkmill.com.au. That's the live site now. And we'll pick let's do Rugby Australia. So this is a stat. I said I would do the container first. All right, so let me show you the approach I would do. We're trying to create a new case study collection with then a WYSIWYG field which has component blocks. So the very first step is to go in the Keystatic config, where we have our default for tags. Let me collapse stuff. Tags, authors, blog posts, external articles. Oh, and then we get singletons for, that's the only, singleton is like a one-off instead of a collection that has repeating items. Good to hear that Quick supports MDX, so you've got a... Oi! The dog went under my feet and I gave her a little belly rub and she's growling at me like I shouldn't. This is my spot, dude. All right, so let's copy that nice formatted comment. And we're going to do case studies, little s to be consistent. So it's going to be a collection. No page. The label is going to be case studies, yes. Let's have an empty schema that will populate. So the path, we want to go in source, content collections, case studies / star. Do I want a directory? No, we'll just do a single file. So stars, that's it. The slug field that it needs. Sorry if I don't I've explained stuff as I go through on multiple streams, so I'll try to go a bit faster, and you can either look up the docs or ask questions. Slug field is going to be the case study name, title. So let's create this title field. Oh, let's not forget the comma. Title is going to be fields, that's slug. Label, no. Name, label is going to be title. What do we have? So that's the title. Oh, no, that is not the title. That is the description. Intro. Oh, because that's a way too long title to make a slug, and the slug should be, for this one, Rugby Australia. So let's quickly look Rugby Australia. Is that rugby.astro? Okay. So title, Rugby Australia, yes. Description is that, which is the one we've seen. Let's go back. The description is that. And so what is that? Is it like intro text or something? Subtitle. Rugby Australia, we're experiencing the limitation. Yeah. So there's a description and a subtitle, which are both strings. They could be WYSIWYG, but let's go with strings for now. So description fields dot text with multi-line, yeah, and then we'll duplicate this for subtitle. Is that what it was? Subtitle multi-line true. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. So if I go back in, I have too many tabs open. If I go to Keystatic admin UI, hey, look, we have case studies. So if I go in my dashboard now, I have this case studies with 0 entries, and it should have a title, description, and subtitle. So far, so good. And let's test that. If I say hello, it will generate this in src / content / case studies / hello that. Oh no, it's going to do a YAML file because I haven't specified I want markdoc, which I do. So the default behavior will put it inside content, case studies, and you'll see an index.yaml file inside. Oh, what's Atlassian? Oh, that was me fiddling around just before the stream just to make sure. Yeah, so it created this hello.yaml. So we need to we need to delete that file, and we need to continue fleshing out our here. Before I can make a markdoc file, I need the actual content field. So let's go content, which is going to, it can be named whatever you want. And instead of using fields.document, which is the typical WYSIWYG field, instead we're going to use the new experimental. So there's MDX, this is for you, Jack, or markdoc. And we'll use the markdoc one because we already use markdoc on this project for the blog. All it needs is a label by at least, and we'll call it content. So now it would still create a YAML file and then create a content.markdoc file in the same location, collocated. It'll put inside a folder named after the slug, but we can change that behavior and make everything in one file with format and then content field, basically which is the field that contains the content that should go under the front matter, and then everything else goes in front matter. So content is called content because this is called content. I know that's a lot of contents everywhere, but if this was called long form and long form, that would work as well. Yeah. I'll go back to content because I'm just used to that convention. So now, let's do the same test in the admin UI. We're going to create hello and save. You can see here our WYSIWYG content. So that's the difference between the multi-line text, which is just a text area, and the content field, which is a rich text editor that gives you Markdown, markdoc, or MDX. But the UI looks the same. Which is a nice transition. You can use both without really creating a lot of confusion. So if I save this, as you can hear, the beautiful black cockatoos in the background. They're amazing birds. Parrots, black parrots with yellow long tail. Now if I go in case study, look at this, it created a hello markdoc. There's not much content to it, but if we were to add hola, oh, it didn't generate. What happened? Hola. Let's save this. Now you can see that and this is not just text, obviously. If this was an H2 and the paragraph, yo, this is bold, cool, and bold, period. So now if I save this, I don't know why I have this content and data mixed up because I've removed the YAML file. Maybe it's cached and I need to restart the server. I had that last time as well. So now you can see that it's storing the, it's markdoc basically, but because it's mdoc, it's marked down basically, but because it has mdoc, it's capable of stuff like this, which we'll see. And this is exactly what we're gonna do next. So now we have our baseline for a collection. Title, description, subtitle. Let's try to have a few more of the fields, and then we're going to create our... So this is Rugby Australia. We've created the title, the description, the subtitle. There's an image, a published on date, and tags reference. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward to me. Let me close this. So before the content here, I want probably right after the published date, a title, published on, but I'm not going to use field.date. I'm just, yeah, let's use date actually. Published date, published on. Is it how it was called? Sure was, published on. And then there's an image, which is actually a Keystatic cloud image. And then a reference tags, an array of reference. So let's do image. And I know that it's going to suggest, oh no, it actually, okay, so typically when you do an image, you're going to use the image which stores the file on your file system. But there is also a cloud image field, which is much easier to use. You just give it a label, image. So let me show you that before I continue. Now I have this image field, and you can see you can paste the image if you know it, which I happen to know because the image that I want is already uploaded here. But let me show you if you didn't, you just click image library, it opens a new tab. And in there, this is my Keystatic cloud account where I'm part of multiple. Oh! The dog does not want to get touched. Sorry. Whew, heart attack. Okay, Thinkmill website is the one we're working on now. And here there's this library, which is where we store all the images for, hey, hello, Max. Hello, West Boss. There's some cool people in here. These are lots of friendly faces from Thinkmill. Yes, this is where we store all the images. And so the rugby cover is called rugby cover. So I guess I can search for it. Rugby cover, there it is. So there's the image that we've already uploaded, but if it wasn't uploaded, you would drag and drop an image straight on there, and or like use the upload form. You can use the upload button, but it's already there. And you can see that I can copy the URL. There's a few other options, but I'll copy the URL, which is basically like a CDN delivery of the image, where you can add parameters for quality and other things. But the cool thing with Keystatic is if the cloud, where is it? The cloud image field expects an image, and then it's going to try and infer not only the source, but the height, width, and the alt tag. Maybe I should go back here and show you that there is here an alt tag and some notes and stuff like this. And basically when you paste that image, look at this, it's going to get the image and provide an alt text, height and width default. I'll leave it like this. And so as you consume this, you have access to a few more bit of data than just the image source, which is pretty cool. So you know what? Let's visit Rugby Australia. Work. Oh no, hang on. I've done another page for this. It's already open. So this is the description. let's change it to Rugby Australia. We'll regenerate the thing. That's the description here. What about the publish date? Do we have a publish date? We don't. Well, we do, but we don't display it. But it's the 29th of May 1921. 29th May 21. So, May 29th, 2021. Okay. We help Australia rebuild there. Oh, interesting. Oh, well, I won't change the text, but possibly an improvement. This is the subtitle here. So I'll paste that as well in the subtitle. We'll leave the image. Screenshot of the Rugby Australia website. I don't know if it's the website, but we'll go with that. Let's save that. And so the hello entry is not found because we've changed the slug. Now it's called Rugby Australia. Look at this. This is pretty good. Let's look at what we've got. So in our, I've just realized there's the stacking happening. I know Westboss did a little video about this and I've never seen it work until now. The stacking of the nested folder. This is really nice. Content. Case studies. Let's look at Rugby Australia. Watch this. This is very nice. This is what we've got so far. So, what we can start doing is instead of saying hello here, let's go in the Rugby, what is it? Keystatic case studies page. What? There. Let's up here import get collection from Astro content, and we'll do const case studies equals await get collection case studies. Now we haven't created the type. Oh, it still gets it. Yeah, it's unknown. But in here I can have a pre-tag and yes on stringify it. That's stringify our case studies. And let's add null to have a pretty formatting with line wrap. And look at this. We have a content collection with its slug. This is the this is the raw body, but you usually use the content renderer to display it in a formatted way. Oh, door smashed. There's a collection, and now the data, which is all our front matter here. And see what I said by the image has a source, alt tag, height, and width. So if you use a image component that expects that would benefit from receiving the height or width or needs it, like in the Next.js image field component, then you have that. So that's cool. So we've done our building blocks ground. So if you use the question by Jack, can you compress and have it in WebP? If you use the image field that stores it on your repo, which I've done in the previous stream about the blog, yes, you can output this image in the assets folder, and then Astro will do all the compression stuff, and then you use the image thing, and you can do turn it to WebP, you can have a source set, you can change the height and width and all that stuff. Alternatively, here I am using Keystatic Cloud images, and so all of this is handled. Keystatic Cloud does that. It does optimization, and it changes the extension of the file based on the browser request. It picks up the most performant option based on the parameters of who wants the image. So if you use Keystatic Cloud, it wouldn't make sense to try to put this and then use Astro's compression stuff. It's basically is a replacement or an alternative. Think of it, it's kind of like Cloudinary or Mux for video. It's like a delivery network for images, And so this becomes the place where you do the optimization. The benefit of that, the biggest benefit, is there is a truckload of images on the Astro site. Basically, we've ported some of them in Keystatic Cloud, but if I go in public and then images, hey, there's somewhere, I know there's somewhere, there is, maybe someone ported all the images. Oh, that's interesting, because we used to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of images. And so this would, when you build the site, we use Astro image tools, it will compress every images, which is great, but every time you do a PR for a copy change, it will regenerate 6,000 images, and the build would take like 20 or 30 minutes sometimes, which is obviously not great. I'll be back in 1 second. I just need to reopen the door that closed, which turned this place into an oven, and I'll turn the fan on as well because it's getting real hot. Give me 1 sec. Oh. Man, it's so hot. I know I'd say that every stream, but I want this summer to go away. Sorry if there's a bit of extra background noise, but I promise you this is necessary. Glad I could answer the question. This seems to be clear. I'll also, you know what? You've seen my face enough. I'll keep my face on, but I will chill out on the key light, aka the oven beam. What happens if I turn all the lights off? This is what I look like. I'll just have a little bit of that and a little bit of that. Yeah, anyway. Oh, this is better. I've taken a couple of degrees off. So, where were we? Okay, we've gathered that data, which is absolutely not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is create a container component, but at least we have the blueprint for like some sort of header component. So what we're gonna do next is create a, let's go back to the rugby page. We're going to create a container. Fun fact, this is already in a container, and then this is in a narrow container, etc. So let's create this container, and this is where it gets really interesting. We want, if I add a marker, how do I add a marker to my stream? I want to clip a little short video of that because this is like the key moment. We're going to add component blocks, content components they're called, to our new MDX field and markdoc field. Basically, in the config file, here we created this experimental content field, which is markdoc, but now we're going to pass it the ability to have custom components. Components? Yes. So let's have an object here. And because I'm going to create a container that is definitely going to be used everywhere, everywhere where Keystatic takes over, I want people to be able to use containers because they are the building blocks, like I showed you at the start, for everything. So if I did it here, I would have to copy and paste or export it. So I'll create a new, let's go in the source directory. I'll create a new folder called Keystatic. And in here, I'll create a new file called content components. No, yes, that's TSX. We'll just export all of them in one. And later we can do like an index file that exports like whatever. Let's start small. And I call them content components because if I search for Keystatic core here, and I search for content components, these are what they are. the new MDX and MarkDoc fields, instead of having component blocks, have these content components, which have 5 flavors and are really, really composable. Between the 5, you can achieve almost anything you want. The container typically wraps anything. You've seen it. It's like the first level thing, and then we put stuff inside it. So wrapper here is exactly what we want. So I will export a const container, which is this component block. I think if I use just wrapper, because we have Keystatic install, yes, you look at this. I can auto import the Keystatic core content component wrapper. This is exactly what I want. And now I'm going to have access to everything like the label, container. Let's give it a description. And this is the layout building block with multiple width, multiple cropping and spacing, not spacing, multiple cropping options. That's good enough. And it's not happy because it also wants a schema. You can have an empty schema just to make it satisfied. And so if we go step by step, I created that component block. Obviously, I need to bring it on in my Keystatic config file. Here, I want a container. That's the name of the block. And it's going to be, let's see if I can auto import it. Container. No, that's not the one. That's the actual. Yeah, that one. Oh, I called it container with lowercase. So you know what? It could be just like this container because it's the same key value. So in case this is a bit confusing, in my components object for the field, I've defined a container where the key matches the value. So it's just container word here. And up here, we're importing it from the component blocks, which is the file content components I've just created. And so now by just adding this inside the admin UI, if we go back to my WYSIWYG editor, you can see that now we have an additional drop-down menu. So on top of all these default tools, I also have a container, which is the layout being block with cropping options. And I can also reach, which is common for tools like Notion or Slack, with the slash command. So you can see I have all these different. The main difference is they all have an icon and the container doesn't have one. So you know what? Let's have a useless detour. I might regret that. What's a container? Oh, that cuboid. I like the box. Hey, let's do a shipping container. Yeah, that's perfect. Or a whale like Docker style. Okay, container is the name of the SVG. So Keystatic internally uses, you've seen all these icons, they come from actually lucid.dev, which is re-exported inside Keystatic. So I can actually import the container icon. Let's see if it works it out. Not quite. From keystar.ui, which is the design system that powers Keystatic admin UI, and then icon, and then icons, and then container icon. I think that's the proper import. It might be the namespace like this. Let's try this. So look at this. Oh no, it's not here that I want to do it though. It's in my content components here, which is even better. So it's all collocated. So there's a description and I can also have an icon here. So let's try pass the container icon and see what happens. Please give me an icon. Hey, look at this. You know what? I don't like this 2-line thing. Let's go layout building block. So now I've created an extra, yeah, it looks great. An extra content component that I can also access with slash and then search for container. And if I press enter, there's nothing. I can type, hello, my friend container. So it's not very useful for now, but what it should do is, first of all, break the, if I try to render it, it should break Astro because Astro doesn't know about it. But let's look at the output now. What it's done, if I go to my content, is it will have created a container, like it's named opening and closing tag, that wraps the text. Just like that. And I think this comment came before me showing you that you can do exactly that. So this is good sign. This is exactly what you can do. So you can see that. That's awesome, yeah? It doesn't look like much, but you wait till we add a crop of narrow, and you get the idea. This is what we're going to do exactly now. So back in the content component, where are we? Oh, this is the one. See, we had an empty schema here. So what we want is to mirror, let's go back to the actual container UI component. We want to mirror that, so I'll copy that. Actually, I'll copy all. Now I'm gonna recreate this, so there should be really a type that defines the options, an enum or a union, or anyway. Let's, again, like I said, let's not worry about the production implementation, but let's see if we can achieve what the components do with Keystatic. So I will copy all of that and comment it out because it's obviously not proper syntax. But what we want is tags, class, and crop. So I'll start with the tag. The tag is going to be fields.select. Oh, I need to import the fields. Let's go import, yeah, fields.select. The label is tag, as in HTML. Description, I got confused with tags. Yes, thank you very much, Copilot. Options. Close, but this is not, it needs to be an array of objects with key value and label. So label, yes, that. Div, section, and header. Yes, and it's still not happy because it needs one more thing, which is the default value, which matches one of the three. So if it was a paragraph tag, it would say, hey, that doesn't match any of these. Yeah, perfect. That's a good error message. Div. So if we go back now in our container, it will have one tag label. I think you can understand where this is going. Why did it add a empty desktop? So now if I go here, I have an edit button. Ooh. The edit button basically means there is something in there that you can edit. There is a field set that has a model that when clicked edit will be here. And now I can choose my header or section component. And so this is a prop called tag. And so now that I save this, I'm sure, let me restart the server because I'm a bit upset that it does this flashing of like old broken. Basically the error that keeps flashing is that there's a mix of YAML and markdoc files, which is a mix of data and contents collection types for Astro's taxonomy, because I had created a YAML file, but then I deleted it, so there is not. So hopefully restarting the server will clear that. So I've created a tag prop on my container. So try, before I show the file, to imagine what the container will look here. And this is pretty easy. The answer is container with a tag equals section. If it was MDX, If we use the MDX field with the exact same config, we would have that. So what I'm saying is MarkDoc and MDX, basically the syntax is the difference, but the whole configuration is everything is exactly the same. Actually, it's not exactly the same. If you use MarkDoc, you need to have an uppercase C for the name of the component because MDX component starts with the uppercase. But this is just an implementation detail. The rest, the schema, everything is exactly the same. So let's continue. We've done our tag. We can get rid of it. We're going to have an optional class and then the crop. So is it here? Yeah. Class is going to be fields.text. Label class, additional classes to apply to the container. Yes. And I see, I'll make a funny Tailwind. I'm allowed because you know I love Tailwind. I'll make the stupid joke that it needs multi-line because Tailwind has so many classes per element that you definitely need a large monitor and 3 lines to add your classes. Ain't that funny? Why is prettier not auto-formatting? I don't like this. Funny joke though, yeah? So we've done the class. It's optional because we haven't set it as required. And finally, the third one is the crop. So crop is one of these. Let's do a bit of cleanup here. I basically want to keep the various keys like this, like this. There's bleed. So many fancy options. Boxed, narrow boxed. Okay, these are the options. Let's put them all on the left. And so I can delete all of this. So the last thing we want to implement here is the crop. Fields that select one more time. So the label is crop. Copilot, don't try to... No. Width. Max width. Container. Sort of because... And options. That's kind of weird. Anyway. Label description. It needs options. I don't want Copilot to help me. See, that's why. Escape. I'm going to paste these. And we're going to do some multi-cursor stuff. So I'll get rid of that. The label will be close, but yeah. Okay, let's go back to multi-cursoring. And then the value will be the same thing. Why did I not select the closing? Let's add the closing tag, the closing bracket, and the comma. I think that's all it needs, and then it needs the default value set to normal. Let's reload the window. I don't know why I'm not getting the formatting for prettier. There must be some conflicting... Do we have a prettier config? Yes, with the plugins, yes. Plugin Astro and Tailwind CSS. Ah, well, format on save is working on no pages. I'll fix that at another time. So, look at this. Look at this. Imagine someone who's used to edit the site by going in Rugby Australia, and they're used to using that container component like this. Yeah? I feel like they're going to be quite comfortable with doing a container like this. Matter of fact, section container, the section is the tag, The crop is narrower. So look at this. Whoa! Narrower. And then the additional Tailwind classes, it should really be called optional classes because you don't want to make people use it at all costs. But let's copy that. That, I honestly don't think it's good UX, especially if you consider that non-developers will be editing stuff. Do we want non-developers to have to apply Tailwind classes? This is more an escape hatch for developers that want to do bespoke tweaks. I really don't think that allowing CSS classes composition in a WYSIWYG where you can't preview the output is great. But on that note, I think we're going to add support for Tailwind in the admin UI. So when you do a content preview, because this is another thing that the content component can do, it can have label, tag, all of this. It can also have a content view, which is basically you can render. If I did div container like this, I don't know why I would do this, but it would render div container. There's a div with container here instead of the actual content. I think I didn't save my, I didn't save, I was busy getting confused. So that was narrower and the Tailwind classes, and then I have to save actually. Did I get them right? Narrower. I will never find that file again. Rugby. Narrower section. So now they're saved, section narrower, that. And you know what? I kind of want my content, I don't know why. I want to put less emphasis to the Tailwind classes. So I'll move the class after the crop, just so it plots it down. And I'll probably have a little, this is optional, only use if you know, if you know what you're doing basically. So now if you look at the content, now if we look at the Rugby Australia markdoc file, do I have a rugby.markdoc? This one. And what did, oh, that's the old one. Don't save this. I want to open the new version. If I open Rugby Australia in my content here, look at this. This is what you would write by hand if you were to, yes, the content preview I showed, content view that I showed is a React component. So actually this is interesting. Let's imagine that it will, imagine that that thing here will support, where am I? Imagine that this will support Tailwind soon. It doesn't yet, but if I was in my content component and I did this content view, like I've done a dummy example, you can put it anywhere, I'll put it here. Content view, this thing receives props, yeah? It's like a React component. You could have div, what are we doing? A container. Let's have a div, something obnoxious. Style equals background tomato, padding 2 rems, and then here, what do we have? Props that children. What's value? Let's try props that children and see what we've created. What have I broken? Unexpected token, schema. Oh, I forgot the comma after the, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so you get the basic idea, yeah? And I think in value, you can get, so children is whatever goes inside the the wrapper, because it is a wrapper that has children, and the children is the text we've put. And you can still, that's the cool thing, you can still edit this. And if I save it, and I forgot to rugby.markdoc, be Australia.markdoc, it's been edited, and it's edited both ways. You can both ways still edit this. If I save this and I go back to the admin UI, it's gonna reload with the both ways. But the cool thing is, because it's a React component and you have access to props, you could do something like this. Let's do something even more horrible. Change the background color here based on the, I don't know why you would do this, but based on props.value, I think here I have access to the cropping, yeah? So if I have value to all the values, so I could spread the Tailwind classes, or I could say props.value.crop equals, with auto completion, which is freaking awesome, equals narrow boxed, question mark, badass, otherwise tomato. So now, because we have set narrow box, oh no, we haven't set, it's narrower. We set narrower, it should be badass, which is a light green. Eee. But now if I go and I edit this and I change to anything else than narrower, it should become tomato. So sky's the limit. This is a React component. You can do whatever you want to render it. And I think once we bring Tailwind components, so I gotta say, that's one of the pain points if you use something like Astro, because the coolest, the absolute coolest would be to actually import my container component that already exists and already has styles for all of this. And then I could literally render the exact container here with the exact same styles that look in the front end without having to do any work. But these are Astro components, and this expects React components only because it's a React app. But if you're working with React components, say Next.js or even Astro with React components, you can absolutely import any component, React component, and then pass this in your component preview. So the answer is yes, React components, but it needs to be React components. But I think this is really cool. So we've basically created a content component. So let's try something really fun, because we need some tangible win here after, what has it been, an hour or so? An hour and 8 minutes. Let's have our first big win. Let's go to Rugby Australia, not Rugby Astro, and I'm going to copy. No, let's copy the front end actually. Thinkmill.com.au, work, Rugby Australia, and I'm going to copy the highlights. So hopefully it copies the markup. It's an H2 and then an unordered list with some things. Oh, sometimes they're bold, not this one. Some pages have bold tags. And in Keystatic for Rugby Australia, basically inside this monstrosity of a layout content preview, I will paste that. So this is an H2, you can see, and then these are unordered lists. Perfect. So if I save this, and we look at our Rugby Australia Astro, no, MarkDoc. Now we have the container opening tag, and then we have the whole MarkDoc, and then the container wrapping tag. And if you wonder about why is it not indented, this is, MarkDoc is not indented. Astro has a nice way to let you indent it and then ignore the indentation, so your brain can reason about it better. But MarkDoc is like flat level, which is kind of weird when you used to pass data. Like our brains know to travel up and then back down to pass something. But the cool thing is, I don't know if you know how Tailwind Pro's typography plugin works, but basically we've created that rich text class in the Thinkmill side, which is, it's prose and then with certain opinions baked on top of it. Like it's a custom version of prose. And because the container here will set the max width, but it will also add rich text. And so this should format all of this. And I'll show you. Let's try render this actually. And you'll see that we're going to hit a problem straight away because the container hasn't been registered. I know it's not a problem. It's just an extra step we need to do. So if I go in my index that, what is it? Astro for the Keystatic case studies here. Let's grab const rugby, or let's just go study. Const study equals await get entry. Can I pass the case studies like this? And then the slug. Otherwise, I'll just use the slug will be rug. Look at this. Rugby Australia. I thought without setting up the TypeScript, this might be wrong here. Well, let's try the stringify study. I feel like because we're getting the data, we're gonna hit this problem that I mentioned. Okay, it's not doing anything. So let's try like this. Okay, so now we have the Rugby Australia, and you can see the body tag is not a problem here, but basically if I was rendering the body, if I go here and I go P and then study dot body, it's going to be this completely unstyled raw string. And this is where the Astro has that render method that will pass the body into something formatted. And the way you do this is like this: const, you can grab the content component that it will give you, destructured from await study dot, and there is this render method here. And I want auto formatting. So now is when the thing is gonna break, because it discovers this tag that doesn't exist, container. Basically now it tries to pass the string of markdoc, and it hits that container tag, and it's like, ooh, what do I do with this? I don't know. So we have to go in markdoc config, and you can see this is where in the Keystatic site, the Thinkmill site, we've already defined default nodes for fence, which is the code blocks, images, headings, document, and then custom tags for the video GIF, the embed, the aside, the U underlined, which is not part of the, funnily enough, it's not a default, it's underlined, but it's not part of the default set of markdoc tags. So it's not a node, it's a custom tag. Layout area. So here we're going to add our container. It needs two things. It needs a render and then some attributes. Render is what do we want to render. So this is where the cool part is, because we already have the container component, but it's not in Keystatic, it's in UI. So here I'm pointing to components, UI, and then container here, which is that thing. So when you hit container, use that. That alone is not enough. We've broken everything. Because I saved with the extra bracket from Copilot. npm run dev. So that alone is not, I think it's going to recognize the container tag, but then it's going to say there's a crop prop that I don't know what to do with. I think that's the next error. There you go. So it recognized container, but now it's like, what do I do with these? So we need to add, hopefully I'm explaining, I feel like I'm explaining well this time. Markdoc config. Last time I was in the Markdoc config, it was hell. And it needs attributes. So there's 3 attributes. There's basically the, not size, go away. We have the tag, which is of type string. Is it a default? I won't use default, whatever. Type string. Basically, we want 3 strings. We want a crop. And I guess you could pass the union, like the specific enum or whatever you set, the finite set of choices, but string is basically should be good for the Markdoc config for us for now in this demo. And the third one is crop. No, class. So now that I've passed these 3 attributes, I think it's going to be happy. So this is not the content component. This is what we've, if I go back to my Keystatic, can I skip the word and then go case studies? Yeah, I can. What you see here is that study buddy that I was showing. But now that I've received that content, this content is a component that will render the same thing but nicely formatted. So prepare to amaze. Content. What I'm expecting is it to look exactly like it looks in the case study. Bam! Would you look at this? The reason it looks exactly the same, if we go in, that's Rugby Australia here. Is there a different? Yes, there is a different in font weight, and I know exactly why. Is because when I pasted, I can fix it in Keystatic or in the Markdoc file. When I pasted the HTML that I copied, this has made bold because of the font weight. When you copy HTML from the browser, if the font weight is bold, it's gonna interpret it as bold. So now it's not bold, which makes it bolder, which is so silly. But now it's gonna look exactly the same. Highlights. Highlights. Let's scroll to the same position. You get the idea. We've created the same thing. And the cool thing I was saying before is, if we go to the Markdoc Rugby Australia, and I just remove this rich text class, look at this. Look at this. Now it's just unstyled text, because this is what Tailwind does to your typography, just hard resets everything. And because we opted in the prose with rich text, everything gets formatted. And so let's play around. Let's remove the sidebar. Let's go. Well, we can do it in Keystatic, but let's try to bleed. Was bleed one of the options? So now you can't see it, but if I was adding BG pink 500, I don't know if we've undone the colors. See, that's where the problem is. You don't have any TypeScript auto-completion. I may have removed these colors from the Tailwind config. I don't know. Tailwind config. Oh. Go away. Tailwind.config.cjs theme extend. No, the colors should be there. TM red. So BG pink. Why is it not being applied? Ah, I know. I know, because the content is not in part of the. Yeah, this is because the content array here is not looking for Markdoc file. Look at this. Refresh. Ba-bam. So bleed is obviously not what I thought it was. Let's go in Keystatic admin UI. What are the options? I should really get rid of this let me get rid of the... If people join and they're like, what is this thing? Let's get rid of this content view, but that was a cool demo. So now it's gonna look just normal. So, crop. Yeah, bleed was one, eh? Full width, bleed, boxed, narrow boxed. Oh, I know. Huh? I know what's happening. To do a background color, because when you pass a class attribute, no, it was passed to the outer props. I feel like there's nested container. Okay, I need to relearn. I've built that thing, but I forgot how it works. I need to find a place that has a max bleed container like this. This is the vocal. So let's look at the vocal.astro. And let's go work out. I think it's nested container. What are we looking at? Fostering deeper conversation. See, a developer would not write this copy. I'm joking. It's great copy. Yeah, okay, so see, we have a container bleed and then a container crop normal with py0. Challenge accepted. Although the text is gonna look terrible, we'll just use another color here. But let's try this. Oh, I don't know if we cannot. I don't think you can. I couldn't create another container and then move this one inside it. But I'm sure you'll be able to nest stuff with drag and drop. Let's start from scratch. Container. Yes. No. Container. So we want the first one to be bleed, and then with these classes, but I'll choose another color. So section bleed, and let's go BG stone 300 instead. Yeah. And this is where it'd be so cool to have the color come here. And then inside of here, we'll have another container. Remember, they're wrappers, so they can wrap. This is fine. And you can't yet drag and drop them and nest them, but I'm sure you'll be able to. So the next one we want is a container normal crop. The default section, the default tag, which is a div, and just py0. So there's no padding because the padding is handled in the parent. So normal crop, py0. Was it normal crop? Yeah. So like this, we've recreated the full width container with a normal container. And let's try copy that copy inside there. Oh, it copied the container as well. I didn't want that. I wanted that, yes. And then H2 highlights. I will keep this one, but let's just maybe, how do I put my cursor? How do I get out of here? Yep, double enter. Okay, cool, that works. Let's have a line break and say, what? Thank you for your patience. So let's save all of this. Before we look at the output, let's look at the code. Rugby, Australia. And so we're going to have this. Look at this nested container. First container with the bleed crop, and then the other container, and then the nested container. You might be like, whoa, this is weird composition, but the key point to understand is this is recreated that, yeah? We want to be able to recreate the same composition patterns that were available in code, basically. So because of the first one being bleed with BG Stone 300, which is a light gray, I'm expecting a full band of light gray color, and then inside of it, the normal container with the text highlight. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. Ooh, I was like, this is cool. So, where is ours? What? Localhost. Oh, yeah, that's vocal. Okay. So here I'm going to go back to Keystatic case studies. Okay, so it's not working. I feel like I have a container, an unclosed container that sets the max width here. But you can see the narrower and the not narrow. I mean, it looks terrible, but yeah, okay. There is this max width unfinished business here. Where is it? Flex 1, PY default. Okay, so I've done a mistake in that Rugby Australia index page. Oh my god. I struggle to find it every time. Keystatic, case study. It's such a long name. There. Basically, the mistake is that I have a crop normal and then I put the content inside there. This was the mistake, ladies and gentlemen. So let's put our content alone. Alone in the world. And now we get the full bleed with the thing. So let's do something. I'll make the inner thing narrower and I will add the prose class rich text. And let's do it for a mix. No, because I was gonna say let's do it in code, but let's do it here because we're playing around with these. So this one here is where the rich text class is coming. Just that, and we'll make it narrower. Save that, and so now it's going to be narrower. But obviously the rich text class has tried to be fancy. Why is it? I feel like there's a class that inverts the prose to prose reverse. I forgot how it all works. We had some fancy, clever way to... Oh yeah, there's the dark class, that's why. So the dark class basically will enable the prose reverse, I think. This is when you customize Tailwind, you can do awesome things, but it means that the learning, like, you know how you can jump from Tailwind project to Tailwind project? This is true until you start doing very fancy stuff, and I assume there's a lot of fancy stuff happening in CSS. Yes, that exactly that. Rich text. So rich text, like I said, is prose, but it also has the dark version. Okay, so because we've added the dark class, it did the prose invert. So basically the rich text, all it is doing a responsive variant of that and then doing some opinionated overrides, which typically I would do in the config file for the typography plugin. And then it sets different heading. Okay. Body small, external. Ooh, that's a departure from the Tailwind mindset, right? But I get it's like this. It's a link that. Oh no, okay. It's a utility. That means you go. Our article should be external link because any link should have this little arrow that says, "Hey, you're about to leave." Anyway, all that to say, because we support dark, let's change this back to what it was meant to be, which was Stone 900. Now it's on the parent. I'm definitely not sold on the add Tailwind classes on Keystatic to create layouts, even if you're a dev. But yeah, basically now we've created this full bleed container. And this is obviously, yeah. You would probably have the rich text thing on the entire because it's a WYSIWYG field, you want people to be able to have free-form text. Unless you put a container around everything, you would probably have something like a wrapper here with the rich text class. What am I doing? Where am I? Yeah, but not here. Here. And have the content inside of it. So now everything gets the rich text and it creates this typography. But because we removed the max width, yeah, you kind of... Okay, so this is the decision at the Thinkmill website. Literally, the decision was that everything, every section, every block is wrapped in a container. So you almost want to, you can't really do this in Keystatic, but you want to prevent people from putting anything top level or change. This is not a Keystatic thing. This is how this website is built. Yeah, if we wanted to, we wanted to recreate this, you would literally have a container which defaults to narrow or normal, and then you would paste that in here. And then that would create this like consistent max width container where now the text is like the normal. And you can see this is narrower because it's set to narrower. Yeah. So if I was to change this one, which is the pink one, to narrow normal, then we will have the alignment that we were born. What? This is a container. Oh, the classes are added. That's the classes from the container, but then this one has this. Okay, so well, this is good because you can see the mess that you can do. It works really well, but when you allow on-the-fly classes like this, you also can make it a bit harder to move to your CMS. So if I go in the rugbyaustralia.markdoc, come on, you can guess what I mean by this. Yes, it does. What I meant is this pink thing had these classes like this that made it unaligned with the normal text. Now you can see that it's aligned. Yeah. But I think that's pretty cool that we were able to recreate this slightly complex container approach. So let's stop messing around and let's pretend that we're building the Rugby Australia. So we'll take care of the whole header later because we have the data. We'll start with the highlight. Yeah. So I think that's what we had before, actually. Before I did all that mess. Can I undo stuff until I get back to the point? I think that is the... Yep. And we're gonna get rid of this, hola, this is cool. So now we're like, hey, we're creating the page. That's the thing. Keystatic case studies. And you know what? It annoys me that this is the hub page and then I'm showing one page, but whatever. Highlights. Okay. What do we have next? Stats. Okay, let's create a stat block. So the stat block is going to, you know, when you don't know what props, sometimes I get caught looking at the UI and I'm like, okay, so it needs like an array of key value, whatever. But then I realize this component has already been built. It's called stats. And here is an array of stat. And there's a color class too. And the color classes can be what? Ooh. Okay, it needs some work actually, but I don't know what color class means. Like, remember, it's been a good, easily a year that I haven't touched this site, or like I've done tiny little bits to help here and there and wrap the blog in Keystatic, but this is a while back. I've built some of it, other folks have built some of it, but I'm discovering it with you in live, which is kind of sort of a skill. So there's a stat, which is an object with a stat string and a text string. Again, there might be better ways to create that data set, but we will recreate what exists. So we can use the component without changing it. And then the stat props is an optional color class, and the data is an array of stats. It's weird that it's a data and not just stats. Okay. So let's go back to our content components. Who's with me? Because, yeah, 11 people watching. Okay, very cool. So now we're going to create the next. We've created this wrapper container, and we're going to export another one called stats. Export. I was like, did it listen and know exactly? Export const stat block, or just stat equals. So important to note that this time, where's my stat? My stat here, let's do it like this. I have the stat here and here the content components, and close the sidebar. My stat here, which is using a description list, which is good. It's a good way to do it. Well done. It doesn't have any children, yeah? It's an opening and closing. There is no slot or prop stat children or whatever. So it's not a wrapper. And it's at the block level. It's not inline. So what we want to use is the block, which is another component that I've now imported at the top, like the wrapper before. But this one doesn't have children, basically. Same schema or same props. Stat block, description, showing some flattering stats about something. Remember, it can have an icon. So what's a cool icon for stats? Let's go. There'll be a chart. Statist, yeah. What's a cool one? Plot chart, scatter chart. Yeah, I think the line chart is pretty cool. This is cool. It's kind of minimal. I'll go for that one. Line chart. So let's see if we can wing it. Just like I've imported. Okay, now I don't like all these things getting in the way of my Zen. I'll try duplicate this and replace container with line chart. Was line chart a thing? Line dash chart. Oh, I just imported it. Of course, it's not used yet. Like when I see that, I feel like this doesn't exist. It's no exported line chart. So the icon is going to be line chart icon. See if you just waited okay, now there's a problem. Yes, that's what I thought the issue was. Icons. Oh, because I thought I had multi-cursor. Line chart icon. Very good. And it needs a schema before it can be satisfied and chill out with the squigglies. Okay. So let's explore that bit in the admin UI. So now in our drop-down menu, we should have two. Oh no, it doesn't magically appear in the Keystatic config. I need to... let's see if the auto import works now that I've done the pattern once. Stat. No? Okay, so I've added stat and I need to import it here. I thought because the file is already there, let's add a space here. It's a bit messy in there, but oh well. So now we have a Stat. Ooh, look at that. This feels very bespoke. Again, I want to try to stick to one line for the... But I mean, flattering stats doesn't add anything. It's literally a pointless description. So after our component here, so double enter to get out of there, we're going to add, remember, everything is in the container. So if I look at the actual thing, it's, oh, it could live in the same container, but I think to achieve the spacing, there is a container chain. So let's cheat and look at Rugby Australia, rugby.astro. There's the highlight. The container closes, and then we have a narrow boxed with PB default PT0. So it's basically, it kills the bottom padding because I guess the padding is handled by the next one. No, it puts default at the bottom with PB default, and it kills the padding top 0 because it's handled there. I usually do the opposite, where each section pushes from the top and then doesn't know what's coming next, so it doesn't try to make decisions. But that works. So look at this. I forgot narrow, boxed, and section. Okay. Fine, just ask. Slash container. Let's scroll a bit. This one is narrow boxed. It's a section. Was it a section? Yes. And the class is PB default PT0. Yes. And inside of here, we're going to nest our stat. That starts to feel pretty nice. Even if the UI can be improved, so now stat has nothing. We'll save that. Of course, now because we're rendering the content, it's immediately telling me, dude, stat, what's happening? So let's create the empty stat in the mark.config to satisfy where we are. So we'll have a stat. I'll go a bit faster because now render is going to be component slash, I think UI. Oh. UI. I don't know about the attributes yet. But I need to check that there is a UI stats component. Yeah. Component UI stats. But it's stats with an S. And I've borked it again. Why? Because Copilot just adds the wrong amount of closing tags. This is a constant problem I have with Copilot. All right, it's working. Close the sidebar, refresh. So this is our stat block. If we look at what it's Rugby Australia.mdoc, we should now have a container with the attributes and then a self-closing stat. Because it's a block component, it's not opening and closing, it's self-closing, which is the key difference between wrappers and blocks. If you need to have children, use a wrapper. And it's not just a container that expects other components. If you want like any text, anything, if you want a children prop, use a wrapper because it's going to open, close, and have a children prop in the middle. That in Astro, you can consider the slot. And then if you don't want that, if you want the self-closing one, use a block if it's block level, or inline if you want it to be like in the span inline level. And there's a few others, but these are the key building blocks, I guess. So what's our stat? We need to now map the props. So we're going to have a field that array, a repeating field. You can see that the grid is designed to handle any number of items. It basically has 2 columns, assuming you always have 2 at least. Or even if you have 1, it's going to just take half the space. And then if you have 3, it switches to 3 columns. And if you have 4, it even switches to 4 columns. And if you have more, I guess it just repeats the process. So we want a... ha ha ha! In other words, there's two options to do this. I can do it as a block with an array field, or it can be a repeating field, which is a little bit more complex. And I don't think when you build stuff from scratch, it makes sense. Repeating field you use if you have existing, it's basically a parent component and then children component. So think of a grid wrapper and then grid cell. And the grid cell is a specific element that you want to know. It's the inversion of control. You want the grid cell to know about its props and all that. So you want the grid parents to be just a dumb wrapper that just sets display grid and maybe some styling for columns. And then the children, you want each children to themselves know what data they have and props and what's up. So if you want to do this, you need to use a repeating field, which is a parent opening and closing, and then you have children components that you can determine the list of what's allowed in them. And the other option is to do a block and have an array field. And basically that means that the parent component, or the only component, knows about all the data. Instead of talking forever, let me just do a little code demo. So a repeating field would be a parent component like this. And then you would have a child with you would have something like this. So each child will be responsible to have some data. And that's a very common composition pattern in React or just JSX. And this would be the repeating field pattern. And what I mean by repeating field is in Docsmill here, this repeating field basically expects a series of repeating, and the cool thing is you can define an array of children that are allowed. So you can say stuff like, inside my parent repeating component, I only allow child components. I'm not allowing a p tag that says hello because it makes no sense. You can achieve the same output and result using the block field or block component, whatever, block pattern. And here, patterner. And here, my thing would look like this. You will have a self-closing parent, and the self-closing parent will be the one that contains the data, which will very likely be an array of stuff like this. Thank you very much. So I think for what we do, that makes a lot more sense. But you might be working in scenarios where you have some markup like this in MDX or MacDoc, and you're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to take all this data and move them to the parent here. Well, there you go. You have the two options. So I'll delete this. Hopefully that was a useful interlude. And here we're going to use a block field, and we're going to have an array. No, we're going to have a data prop, which is an array of stats. It's kind of weird, but this is how it's built. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? No one's saying anything, so I'll say yes. So in my content components, in my stat block, we're going to have a data prop, which is fields.array. Inside of it, we have an object because it's an array of object, fields.object. Don't confuse me. Escape. Our object will have a, where are you, file? Stat and text. Stat fields that text, label stat and text. This is weirdly named props, but this is what we're working with. Field that text, label text. Did I get that right? I feel like I need to close all this in between. I want to keep that one open though. stat text, and there's a color class too. So that's our data attribute, which is an array of stats, an array of objects, and then color class, which is a string. Color class fields that text. Label, color class, description, the color class to apply to the stat multiline, definitely not true, but it's trying to do my Tailwind joke. Okay. I don't want a description here because just stop trying to make me do things. Okay, I've broken everything now. Up, come on. Okay, so now I'm expecting Astro, and specifically Astro's render component. Did we break the thing again? Oh no, it's not complaining. Oh yeah, because I know why it's not complaining, because currently our stat doesn't have any, but as soon as we add props, it's going to say, yo, I don't know what to do with this. Well, actually, it's already telling me, yo, I don't know what to do with this. What? Unexpected error. Type error cannot read properly undefined reading map. Oh, because it's required. Okay, I've changed the schema after I created this, and I think it's expecting an empty array at least. How? What's the syntax in Mark? Is it that? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna delete this and redo it. So what's happening is I've changed the schema and then something didn't match, and then Keystatic was like, dude, you need to sort yourself out. So inside the container, I'm going to have a stat. And now I can edit this stat. Look at this. Color class. I don't know what color class is. Maybe I need a description. But we'll add some items. So, and we will do the thing where we copy the thing. And the thing we're copying is that. So 3Y, collaboration, and mentoring. So 3 years of collaboration. The stat is 3Y of collaboration and mentoring. See how it says item 1? We'll fix that. We need an item label for that. Let's add a second one. Oh my god, I keep switching the wrong arrows. 3K sites powered by Keystone. And we're gonna add Keystatic soon. I don't know, it's not 3Ks yet, but we're getting there, best believe. 3K, I go lowercase. Okay, let's save it as is. And so now Keystatic, Astro, sorry. Now Astro is like, oh, I can see you've defined a stat attribute node tag, a stack tag, markdoc tag, but it doesn't have props set. So back in a markdoc config, please ask questions if you have any. I feel like I'm on a pretty good roll today. I haven't been stuck majorly like I tend to. So our stat already has the renderer, but the attributes needs a data, which is fields that, no, which is a type array. Do you have to be more specific than this? Color, class, type, string. I feel like the array should be an array of objects, but I feel like this is going to let me get away with it. I'm not trying to get away with it. I'm just trying to move forward. I'm not trying to ship the... Look at this! Hey! This is cool. Because we've set the renderer here already, whenever Astro sees the markdoc file here, he sees the stat block and it's like, hey, I don't know, I know what to, and look, I can go 7 years. It's really coming from the CMS here. I'm not just messing with you. It's using the stat block because we've created the same property set and now it knows what to render when it encounters that. So I think that's really cool. So let's go back to the CMS. And here would be a nice place to, I was gonna say, I was gonna say this would be the perfect place to import the stat component, but it's an Astro component. But because when you can see text, it makes sense. But when you have an empty stat block, it's kind of weird to reason. Oh, and also items. Let me fix that quickly. We are in the content components, and here what I want to do is add, so the fields.array here, just before it closes, that's the closing fields object. Here I can pass a label and item label for, so this is a stat, single stat, and the item label is going to give me some data, and then I can return data that. Which one do we want? Text, stat. Let's do something funny. Let's have a template string. I think I can do this. And then we're gonna do data.field.stat column data.field.text. Yes, thank you. So now the items should show me the actual data. Object. Oh yeah, because inside of it there's things and you want the value. That always trips me. Now we good. Now we're cooking with fire. Look at this. Look at this. 7-year collaborating mentoring. So let's change it to 3 years. Quick thing I always forget to show, but you can drag and drop the order of the tags or the array field really nicely. And so let's add the 30K, 34K published media reports. That is impressive. 34K published media reports. Enter again. Also, it's very keyboard accessible, all these components. Why do I keep going to the right? I have to go up. 3.5 M average page views per month. Damn. Flexing hard. Enter. No, escape. Tag, enter. Okay, let's save this. And we should have a 9. Went right again. Look at this. I feel like this is bolder. Honestly, look at this. I've created a container, then another container with the stats. Doesn't look like much, but if you... Yeah, so what's the deal, yo? Font size here is letting none text LG. Oh, there's some default styles from the pros thing. This is where I pros annoys me when it's not for that section. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Okay. I've added pros to everything rich text, so now it's trying to rich text everything. So I guess the cop out of there would go in our stat block and add here. Because we use CX, let's make an explicit different line with not pros. And basically not pros is going to say, I know you're in pros component, but this is not pros. So there you go. So now we're fighting the fight. And now it looks the same. Yeah, so remember I added pros to the whole thing. But maybe the assumption is I think exactly what happened is someone from the team had pros everywhere. And I was like, dude, don't do this. Just add pros where you need it. Make it opt-in rather than opt-out. And now I've eaten my words and done the opposite. So I'll move it. And I'll go back to my... I've never struggled much to go to this page because of the name I gave it. Yes, I want to get rid of this rich text thing here. This was a terrible... Not terrible, but I don't like this because then you're fighting against... So now I'm back to bold. I should be back to bold tags. Why am I not? I guess I didn't save the stats page. Huh? Oh no, of course not. We're good. I just removed the... I just see I confused myself. I removed the thing which means that every time you want prose, you need to explicitly add it by adding this opt-in class like we've done here, rich text. And I think that's much better. Okay. Again, please don't judge Keystatic on the implementation of the Thinkmill side. Or also, please don't judge the Thinkmill side because it was built really quickly and it works really well. It's just when you try to port stuff like this in the CMS, that's when you uncover all the things. If you were building a system from scratch, you would think a bit differently. But I'm pretty pleased that we're able, I feel like, I know we haven't done much, but I feel like I can build anything. Like, I feel like I want to build this next because there's an image. So this is a text image. I'll build one more and then I'll probably take a break because you probably get the idea. Yeah, no, I want to do testimonials so badly. I want to do image and testimonial. Let's try image because the image is probably going to annoy me with the transformation of the image object instead of just a string. So that, if I go to rugby.astro, and see, actually, the data was like this already. I honestly don't know what the color class does. It's probably a background color for the stat. It's never used. Alright, it's always empty. I guess that was a legacy, like, we want to change the color. Can you, anyway, if I go to the rugby, okay, where am I? Let's close this double whammy thing. Rugby.astro. Whoa! Jesus. Okay, I have a sound panel, like a felt, it's not a sound panel, felt thing that just fell on me, and it, thanks to my Elgato keylight and monitor, it protected me from getting murdered by a very lightweight felt square. Yes, I was saying it's good we use the block structure because of the actual setup of this, and that's why it worked out of the box, because we've matched the data set. So next we have a container with normal and rich text, and inside of it we have this text and image. Oh my goodness, it has lots of props. That's gonna be cool. And you can see that it's a wrapper component because it has children. If it was self-closing like this, it would be a block, but because it has children, it's a wrapper. So I'll first create the text and image component. Let's go a bit faster. You know what? Let's copy. No, let's inspect that. We should have a props thing somewhere. Yee, look at this. Ooh, that's gonna be some work. Content components. We've done the stats block. Now we're going to do export const. And by now you should figure out how to do it. Text image equals wrapper. Label text image. Description no. Icon. Let's go container icon, but we'll change it. Schema. Empty object. Paste all of that and comment that out. Okay. Layout, is there a side-by-side layout? Oh. Text, image, post, article, image. If there was one of these, that would be perfect. What do I use? Columns? What was the layout one? There was a nice... Anyway, I shouldn't spend too much time on that. Okay, I'll go to article. That was the... It's not what it is, but it was the post. No. Ah! Grid. Split. There was one with text and yeah, okay, I'll use that. Newspaper, whatever. Let's go at the top. We're going to import. This time I will have the duplicate cursor and go newspaper icon. Newspaper icon. Are you happy now? Doesn't exist, is it? Newspaper. I bet that it's newspaper is not 2 words. I don't know why I camel case everything. Okay, that was it. All right, so let's look at it in the UI and be amazed. And you know what? I'll do what I did before. Rugby, so we cover a bit of ground a bit faster. We'll have a normal crop container with rich text field. So after the stats, oh yes, I wanted to have the preview there that I might do. Let's have a container. The crop is normal. It's a default div. And it has rich text. And inside of there, we're going to use our new that I didn't import. And let me save that before I lose that. In my Keystatic config file, you're right, Doug. I'm going to bring along the newspaper. No, it's not newspaper. What is it? It is not newspaper. That's the icon. What I'm trying to bring is blanking out. Stat after the start with text image. Text image. Did I lowercase the whole word it? Why my text? Yeah, okay. It new best. Text image, and I will pass it in my component blocks. So you can use all these blocks that I'm creating, especially the container. It's likely everyone's gonna want to do it. So later I could go in external articles or like blog, except the blog is using the document field. Where is it? I keep taking so many side quests. That thing here doesn't take the new content component. Instead, it has component blocks. It's not using them here, but it has component. What? Yeah, here, component blocks, and then I have the video GIF and the embed. So these are different. They're not compatible as far as I know. But yeah, this new, I can see everyone asking for access to this container component I've done. So I've added text image. So now, inside my container here, I can add a text image. Look at this. This is so cool because it's bespoke building blocks for what the team's trying to build. And so my text image is going to be completely empty. But because it's because it is a wrapper, I can pass. Oh, it's called text and image. I can pass. Oh, I don't know why there's line breaks. This is not great. This might save it with lots of BR tags. Rugby.astro. I think that's fine. I don't know if it's fine. There's probably better ways to use your time than what I'm doing right now. But I've done it. Okay, so we have, why is the syntax highlighting not happy here? We have our text image. I will just turn it to text and image. So now Keystatic is going to yell at me saying, well, Astro is too, but Keystatic would be as well, because in my component blocks, content components here, it should be called text and image, and in the Keystatic config, it should be text and image here, and where we import it up there. Radio, Cotton Eye Joe. So now Keystatic is happy, and we have text, image, which I guess if we were pedantic, we go text and image. So now this shows, come on, we'll fix text and image. So now you've done the dance a few times. We need to go in the markdoc config and register our, it's gonna be big one, text and image. Render is, I have no idea how it's called. Let's go check. Components, text and image.astro. Whoa, okay, so it's lowercase, but then it's camel case, and some of them are, I mean, that's what happens when multiple people work on a project, and it's fine, it works. Render here, and then the attributes. Let's have an empty object for now. Hopefully I didn't break the build. No, I didn't. Cannot read properties of undefined in src. What was that? Oh, it literally, yeah, well, I don't know why I had p tags. This is a p tag in markdoc, in markdown. Okay, text and image is can't find. Okay, the text and image is expecting an src, and we don't have one yet. Okay, so let's do the props mapping. I will do two things. Close the sidebar and open here the text and image. Oh, before I do it here, I should do it in the Keystatic, in the content, components, here. Oh, I had pasted it already. So here maybe I can have the markdoc. No, let's keep that open, because there's some things is like using key of, type of, and I'll have to look it up. So let's do it under the comment so it makes more sense. Text, position. Can you work it out from the comments? Fields, I feel like you can. Can you please give me the default value too? Or you just want to do the job 90% and then stop? Because you know it. Text position is done. Then layout. Oh, that'd be interesting to work out if it knows. What's layout? Key of, type of, layout classes. Where are my layout classes? I have layout classes here, which is vertical and horizontal. Let's see if it can work it out. I feel like it can. Oh, come on. This is, nah. What we want is vertical and horizontal. And the default, well, what's the default here? You don't define the default? Yes, layout horizontal is default. And yes, we could go uppercase here so it looks nice. Okay. Let's comment out the comments. Let's delete the comments, sorry. Title, string. That's easy. Fields.text, label title. Heading size, fields.select. Come on, look on the right and work it out. You've got this, Copilot. Tell me what to do. Heading size, H2, H3. Hey, no, that's title tag. What? Heading size is small, medium, large. Label, heading, sizes, options. Label, small, value. Let's copy that one more time. Get close, get rid of that, put a comma instead. Escape, comma. Oh, I was so close to nailing the whole default value is medium. That's an assumption that I think you've got right. Nice. Okay, so if we look now, we should have a few things already. We have text position, layout, the title. Okay, the title should go right at the top. These are meta stuff. We can group them in an object to have a better layout, but then we change the props that we pass to the component. I don't know how I feel about this, but definitely the order, I want to have the title go first. This just makes more sense when you populate the thing. Go away. So let's start doing this. In here, Rugby Astro, the title is a performance stack to serve fans everywhere. How good is that tagline? Tight H2, medium, and the image will do that. Okay, so the image, that's gonna be weird because we're gonna use the, oh no, okay. It's passing the whole, what? So it's throwing away the whole meta info, just passing the source. Okay, let's save that. Yes, I know. Okay, so now you don't know about title. So yeah, this mark.config is a little bit painful because you do the, but I understand why it's needed. Let's go invalid attribute. Let's put string to everything and see if we can call it a success. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong. Yeah, it still needs the image, I know that bit. But the interesting part is because we've already told it to render the text and image, it's like we're doing all this, and because I've populated it with a bit of info, we can obviously see that the source is a problem because it wants the image, but I feel like once we pass the source, it's gonna appear in a maze, if you know what I mean. So what else do we have? Let's do, no, let's keep doing what we were doing. We were doing just fine. Let's not get distracted. Heading size has been done. Button title string, button link string. Okay, this is very easy. Look at this. I feel like these 2 lines, 3, 4 lines, I feel like I can go, fields.text. Can you autocomplete all 4? That would be amazing. Oh, I guess if I go in escape to have only one cursor, if I go here and I go space, you're gonna tell me yes, and then space, space, and of course I forgot the commas and I don't have the prettier formatting, which is why. Okay, comma here. Look at this. We're almost there. No, let's keep the comment for this one. Title, tag, fields that select. You can see it above, so you're gonna give me H2 and H3 with the default value of H2 because you can see it. Oh, you're wrong. It's H3. And you've done the double closing thing that you love doing. Okay, so now is the money shot. Money shot. What's image props? We have this. Oh my god. Really? We have that image component that is fancy, but it's now not competing, but it's like basically we're doing the thing I said to Jack to not do, which is we're going to pass the image source from Keystatic Cloud to Astro tools, image, picture element, whatever, and it's gonna do its own optimization on an image that we can optimize already. Instead of the right thing here would be to refactor this and not use the image component and instead build something that uses the image. But I wanna stick to what's there. I don't wanna do a demo that mixes like lots of refactoring and then everyone's like, oh my god, what is Keystatic and what is like it's. If I have a PR that shows literally the schema and the same component used, that's why you wow people. They're like, oh, so the exact thing we had in place, Keystatic was able to like kind of into the the system and then make things editable without changing how they work. But that means that I have to. What even is attributes? I think it's a type. It's a prop from the image component itself. I feel like we need the caption, the title, the alt, and the src. Okay, let's bite the bullet. Image fields dot. It's gonna be an object. Bear with me. It's an object. No, at all. You're just making stuff up. There's no label here. It's directly the fields. src. Can I have an image inside of the image? This is so weird. Fields that cloud image label image. This is going to take care of the src alt tag height and width. So now we can have title, caption. Although the title can be the alt, can't it? It's a different thing. Let's go quick through them. Caption, fields that text as well, but we're going to have a multi-line true. I'm not completely sold that I'm doing the right thing here, but image classes. Field that text, it's a string. You can let Copilot work out what the description would be if you had to describe it like a. Yeah, do that. Have you broken the close? No, you haven't. Good job. And attributes, it's optional, so you know what? Blow it. Could be swapped to visual image props HTML span element. What? What? Text and image. There it is. Where? What? What is that? Could be swapped to visual. Here, image props could be swapped to visual image props or HTML span element. I don't understand what this means, but semantic heading tag slot. Yeah, see there's a slot because it's a wrapper component with children, so whatever gets passed as children will go here basically. And it's the paragraph that we've already pasted. I've got buttons, I've got all of this. This is not happy because it might be undefined, and so is all of it. So it needs some refactoring, but hold on to your butts. We're going to have a MarkDoc complaining. What have I done? I've changed the schema and it's expecting. Do I have to start again? Don't tell me I have to start again. Let's look at the Astro. No, the rugby.mdoc. I'm so lazy. It's gonna find it. Yes. Oof, 11:29. 2.5 hours of stream. So we have a text and image with the children, but here it's expecting more props, and this is why it's unhappy. So we either have to manually add the props or delete that and start again. You know what? I'm gonna copy this in my clipboard, horizontal medial, and copy that in my clipboard as well, and I'm gonna start over from scratch. I know, but now this works, and I can go here and go text and image, and I can copy the paragraph. Yeah, if I was smart I would have copied this first so I didn't have to go in this menu. Was this the title? I forgot everything else. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna know. Rugby that Astro. Come on, you know what I mean. Rugby that Astro. H2 medium. Medium H2. Why is it there? We need to change these orders. Layout horizontal, which is the default. This is all default because there's no button. I feel like this should be a block. Yeah. So you can do much better than this with Keystatic. You can have a block field which has conditional. So if there is a button, you can display all these fields instead of having them and leave them blank. So refactoring could be much more elegant, but now we're just trying to map to an existing scenario, which is, this is how you uncover the capabilities of stuff. And I gotta say, so far it's doing pretty well. It's doing everything that I want. It's not how I would want to do it from scratch, but it's doing what I want to shoehorn it into an existing system. So I have all these fields. What about the image though? Where is the image? I feel like I defined. Have I not defined an image? Oh, I had to scroll. Oh my god. Okay, so it was stopping so neatly that I didn't realize there was a scrolling container. So these are the image fields that I've added. So let's go again. I could just I could grab this image and paste it. And matter of fact, I will. But I thought I'd just show you again. We'd go there, check out the library, say hi to Westbus and Max Stoiber, and then look for rugby. Why can I not type rugby? Rugby. So rugby cover, and the other one is rugby stack. That's the one. So I would go here and then I would copy. Well, let's do that now. Now that I've done it, I'm doing it. There's no going back. Let's copy, and when I copy the URL, it's going to open up a world of a maze with all the stuff. The rugby stack. Image title. Okay, so let's there is no image title. I'm so confused. That's the alt tag. Image classes. Oh, images FX1, which I imagine creates some cool special effects. Image classes there. What else do we have? Okay. So the problem is if I want it to work without changing anything, I need to pass the exact same prop set. Otherwise, I have to refactor how the component, what it expects and how it treats it. So let's save that. We're gonna have to add these to the mark.config. I get away in the front, in Keystatic, I get away by refreshing, but in the front end, it's going to be the title tag and image. They're both strings. I'll just basically put strings for everything. Title tag. Why are they all? What I was saying until I stopped talking so I could type is all of these don't need to be wrapped. And the reason it stayed wrapped is because my prettier format and save is not working. And the reason they were there is because I kind of did the fancy copied from another file and removed the attribute image must be type of string. Ah, yeah, okay. See what happens now? It's actually not a string, it's an object. How do I actually... Is there like shape, like some sort of, like how do you define the actual object? I mean, if you're happy with object, I'm happy with that. Okay. So now, if I scroll down and the image side-by-side stuff is there, I will flip. See, we're close. We damn close. We've got that part, and just the image is not working. And I think it's because of the different... It's passing object or something. Wah, wah, wah. Yes, can I see the second one? Yo. Did you pass nothing there? Okay, so the component, if I go text and image, must have some... Okay, I'm done with the two columns thing now. Text and image. It must have some sort of like if image, then see, for example, there's like if there's a button, title and link, then we do all of this, which means we could have a conditional to whatever. What? Why are you not collapsing? Yes, okay, if there's an image source, then we do all of this. But what I'm passing is not image source. If you want to know what you're passing, you look at the output rug. Oh, I did it. I typed rugby. I pass an image object that has an image and then the source. Because remember the Keystatic cloud image gives you this object with source, alt, height, and width. So I would absolutely refactor the image thing, but it's gonna break the existing uses of it. So I will cave in and instead, in my content components, I will do what it does. I will just have a text string. Ah, this is weird. This is weird. Hang on, no, the image expect an src, not just a string. Okay, so I guess I will move that up here. And then these fields become top level. What you complaining about? There's already a title. Oh my god. Is there? There's a title there. What was I doing? No, it's the... Oh god. Let's look at the text and image. I think it expects... Where is it? It expects an image which is an object with source. Yeah, okay. So I can't, because if I go image, it's going to do source and alt, as you've seen from, and it's gonna have height and width as well. That whatever, don't use them. But then I can't have the title, which is image.title. Oh god, we messed up. We are messed up. No, we're not. I'm gonna do horrible things, but we're gonna make it work. Image, let's go back to how it was. It's going to be a fields.object. But then src, it's not going to be cloud image. I'm sorry. It's gonna just be... I don't want to paste the image here. It's so weird. Oh my god. Well, let's do this. At least use field.url. I know. I know. It's a bit of a mouthful. Thanks for the comment section. Okay, so we created the image, and then src is just the image that we're gonna paste. And we're gonna do alt. It kinda defies the whole idea of using Keystatic images, but alt, field.text, image alt, title, caption, image classes. So how are we tracking here? I feel like this is the... Of course, now my thing is gonna be broken in Keystatic. It might not even want to edit. Oh, it does. But now the image here, I should still have it in my clipboard. It's this one. I'll paste that. And then rugby. You'd think I can type we'll copy that. Image. Okay, there's no title, no caption. So okay, I've done some mishmash of like using the Keystatic Cloud URL how it's not intended. The whole idea is I can recreate the exact shape that the current image component text and image is expecting. Because it's used in like, I was gonna say hundreds, but definitely dozens and dozens of pages. And so I don't want to refactor this and then go update the whole, like it quickly gains big scope. What I'm hoping is now, if I visit the site and close this, so this is the case studies page that I started at the start. Oh my god, look at this. How cool is that? Seriously. If you don't believe me, watch this. I'm gonna go and try change the, just change in that text and image thing. I'm gonna change the image position to right and save. And go back up one. Look at this. Hey, comments, come on, turn up. Turn up. Turn up. Okay, if you don't turn up, I'm gonna put my own comment here. Look at this. I have this text and image block which mimics exactly what's existing on the Keystatic site, Thinkmill site, and I have all these options that I've mapped that I don't even remember what they do. But you can do a vertical layout, and I imagine this is going to stack it vertically like that. And then if we go back to, I tell you what, if someone from Thinkmill that works on the sites watches this, they're gonna be super excited, because this is, it might not mean a lot to you, but this is pretty damn groundbreaking. So let's go back to text left. Let's do a big heading instead. Let's have a button. Oh my god, yes. It's gonna go to the home page. I don't know what the look should be. This should be a select actually. Okay, I've made mistakes. Mistakes were made that day. Let's go H2. We keep that like this. Let's have a caption. My awesome image. This is the image caption. It's cool. Let's save that. Take another look. Of course I didn't. Let's add some strings to our mark.config. What do you want? Button text? You guessed it. Button link? You guessed it. What else do you want? I've broke it because what? What broke it? Okay, something's broken. Button title is invalid. That means that I've used button title instead of button text. So button title. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so mark.conf. I don't know how that showed up here. It's an image on it, but this is exactly why we're doing the changes that now. And that's awesome. Mark.config. I promise you I did not mean for this to appear. Button title. Let's see if it can recover the server. Yeah, it can. Alright, so now we should have a caption. If I hover, there should be the title. So why is there a title if it doesn't do anything? Button says, oh my god, yes! And it is underlined because of prose styles that it shouldn't. So I'm gonna fix that right now. I should not, absolutely not do this, but I can't handle it. So text and image, where we have a button here. There must be a prose. Rich text. Yeah, there's a wrapper rich text on everything. No, that wraps just... Where does it stop wrapping? Yeah, okay. Is there another rich text wrapper? Oh, I've put rich text on the parent container, probably. Okay, so okay, because there's no button on the actual thing, it's not a problem, but here you would definitely go not prose to have the button look normal. But also this is me who added that button, so let's not do this. And let's go in the rugby. Oh my god. Let's go there and remove the button title and button link. So it goes away. Okay, so this is fantastic. This is very cool. Thank you, turning up. Oh, no. Big. What have I done? Let's recap. We've created a container that can take lots of props and then a stat block. And then in image text left and right, if you just join now, believe me, if I switch that to right, either in Keystatic or in the code, it changes the layout because it's using an existing component. And you can see if I hard refresh, there's that fuzzy loading. That's the image astro props thing at work. Okay, so let's go back to left. And the last thing I want to do before I stop, because it's satisfying, let's see, I have 12 minutes. Let's see if I can do the testimonial in 12 minutes. So, step 1, find the testimonial component here. Work out the props. Author, action button, action. I hope it doesn't have an image that... I feel like this is gonna have its own... Okay, no string. We might be good. I just don't want something that uses image props again. Okay. Testimonial component. It's called testimonial, and it's going into our content components. Testimonial is self-closing, I'm pretty sure. I haven't checked. But we are time boxed now by a completely arbitrary decision of mine. Export const testimonial equals block label testimonial use schema empty thing. Most important part, and we'll spend 50% of the budget time-wise. Is find. Let's go like this because there's probably already a quote in message square quote. Select newspaper, duplicate, and go message square quote. And then we're gonna pass here the icon, message square quote icon. Let's go discover our beauty. Okay, the testimonial in question that you have requested in rugby.astro is, let me get rid of the comment. Where's my mouse here? The testimonial in question is in the boxed PT default container. So we'll do that. We'll go below the surface here. Where's my cursor? We'll go container. This container is default boxed. My memory is like a fish, boxed and then PT default. All right. And then inside of it, we'll have a testimonial. See, the block quotes was there, and I would have been very confusing if you used the same. So now we've changed the... Oh no, we haven't brought it here. I make the same mistake every single time. We're gonna bring our testimonial, and we're gonna add our... Yes, I know, I forgot the comma, testimonial, comma, bang. So I haven't saved, yes, test. I haven't saved, but I'm bailed by the draft thing that saved my work. Testimonial, there you go. That has nothing inside it. Next. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I should do this staggered thing because I keep, let's do it in order. Testimonial. I don't hate, but the author is like connected to the avatar component. Everything is intermingled. And now I don't know what an avatar props is. It's like name, bio. Okay, let's do this. I won't be able to do it in... I used too much time for my icon, sorry. Let's try to do it though. Author. It's a fields.object. Inside of it, go away. Where is my testimonial here? So Let's copy that. Why can't I have them side by side? Oh my god. Okay, avatar fields that text label avatar URL, I guess. Name, field that text name. Can you do bio? Yeah. Maybe multi-line for bio? Yes, come on, come on. And then type, come on, do it, you can see it. I can't see anything, but I trust you. I don't know if I should. Simplified with bio testimonial undefined. Yes. Yes. You've done it. I need a comma here, I guess. No? What do I need? No, it's good. So that is the author. Next, we want the action button look. But see, that's... Tom, if you're looking at... Now the testimonial needs an action button look, but it might not have an action bloody button. I'm pretty sure there is no... Well, I can't even see now, but pretty sure there is no action button here. But now we're baking action button look, like the concern of what the button should look. Testimonial. What is this action button look props? Oh my god. Action button is... It's a link or button props look. Oh my god. So the testimonial depends on a button that has a button look that is different on a button that is a link or a button. And I don't even know what you want from me. Just the look. Okay, that. Okay. Okay. Let's go like this. So brother can work out the... Yeah, second now. Yeah, it did. I just don't know why you do all this and then you double close the thing. Okay, we've done that. Quick action title fields that text. Label action title. Yes. Can you guess the next one? Action link. Yes. Can you guess the class? What the hell? You are doing so well. No, oh my god. I've joked about having multi-lines to do Tailwind classes and now it's doing it every time. I guess joke's on me. Variant. What is variant? That I feel like variant is very important. It's gonna be like the vibe. Variance is normal, shade, bold. So we'll do that. Let's try give just enough information to yes, look at below and do it. No. What if they're just below it? If I put them here and then go enter, can you do it? No, don't. Yes. Yes. No. Actually, no. The value is the actual key. That's all right. You helped. What is the default value? Oh my god, not that. Default value is normal. Okay, I feel like this was very messy and erratic. But I feel like we've done it. I feel like we need to close our select. Let's see if it fixes the build. It does. Okay, so now definitely not gonna show up. I thought I was looking at the live side and it worked and I was like, what? Okay. So now both are broken because it's expecting things. Okay, so this is the part that really bothers me, is that, oh my god, that's a lot. MarkDoc, I think I've blew the budget. Oh, 2 minutes. No, I'm not going to be able to do it before 12. But I'll go here and we will create one more component, and it is the testimonial. So the render is going to be guess it, yes. And then the attribute, can you guess it too? Oh, check this out. Make the following attributes. Paste all of that in the comment. Oh my god, what? Oh, too high. And I'm gonna go up, and it's gonna do it. Up. Tab. No. Oh my god. Okay, thanks for nothing. So, attributes. Author. Type object. You get it? Ooh, maybe you action button look. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. Action title. At this point, I'm completely... But are you making stuff up? No. Action button look. Action title. Action lead class. Variant. Yeah. What about all the ones before? Okay, so you've done author. It's done a little chunk of work. Oh no, it done everything. Action button look, title, class, variant. Mate, you've done it. You're hired, Copilot. Okay, so now what do I have? Nothing. But it's rendering in the front end, which is very satisfying. So the problem, once again, if I go to rugby, I tried to type rugby to trick myself and it worked. If I go here, the problem once again is we have this empty testimonial that Keystatic doesn't know how to handle, because it's like, hey, it's expecting some props. So inside the container here, I'm gonna go testimonial, and we're going to edit that. Okay, now let's go to rugby. So the variant is shade. We're gonna do the same again with the avatar is oh, whatever. Variant is shade. The avatar URL is there. The name is Kevin Stafford from CTO Rugby Australia. Hello, Kevin, if you're watching. I hope you're enjoying this stream, entertaining and showcasing Rugby Australia. What else do we have? What are all these? What are those? Type simplified. Yeah, so see what I mean, like these are all default action. There's no action, so all of this is pointless. It's noise, to be fair. Render is spelled wrongly. I think that's why it's not showing. No, I think it's because I didn't have any props or any. Let's try to save that. And then let's look at our front end and be much wowed by our... Maybe you get a point. So I guess what the comment said is that mark.config, I've put thank you so much. Disbelief. I am in disbelief that I did that mistake. Thanks for your help. So now, give me a testimonial, will you? Okay. Oh yeah, you know what we forgot? We've done a boo-boo. A boo-boo. In my content configure content components, you might be able to work that out. but I set it as a block. I said, oh, it's probably a block component, yeah? So it doesn't have a children. What I wanted was a wrapper. A wrapper. And I think if I just change that, it is now not going to do anything, but it's still going to work and accept children prop slot. Where if we look at this page, that's the container, and inside there is this paragraph with line breaks that I don't want. So now if I go in Keystatic, I can paste it here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the finished. Hey, seriously, look at this. Look at this. We've built all these component blocks and we have recreated basically the start of the case study here. And the cool thing is we can, I don't even know what the variations are, but because we've mapped the fields, I can change the look. Ooh. Ooh. I feel like I'm gonna miss some fields for that to work. Where's the bio? I don't know. I don't know how that works. What I wanted to do is change the look, not the type. Where's the look? Button look? No? Variant. Yeah, there's shade and there's the bold. Let's go bold. I know it's the one that has on the homepage. It's blue and like in your face. It's really cool. Hey, yay. Look at this. And then if I'm like, you know what? I do not think the wrapper is... This one's boxed. What if we had a narrow boxed? That's gonna be too narrow, but let's explore. Well, I have to save first. See, we have the narrow container now. Or perhaps we could say, no, you know what? Actually, I want a normal container. Not sure how good it's gonna look because the box has these nice rounded corners. Hey, you know what? It looks pretty cool to me. Let's try the third option. There was shade, bold, and the third one was normal. What's normal? Normal doesn't have any box, and I think the shade has a light gray or something. So the comments that I saw a minute ago about live preview makes a lot of sense. If you, I guess I can, yeah, so let me, yeah, that live preview would be a killer feature with that component blocks. What I can do is take you to a simulation of such a world by taking my backend here and putting it side by side. So we're gonna go like this. Usually live previews have a pretty small, so it's not gonna be live preview in the sense where as you type stuff, it changes. And maybe I should have done that from the beginning. But if we go, we wanna put the image to the left here, I'm gonna go find the, this is my big block here. I'm gonna find my text and image, and I'm gonna switch the text position to the right. So it's not gonna update until I save, but as soon as I save, hopefully it doesn't go back to the top. You can see that works. And then we're like, oh, you know what? Actually, we've reached 5 million impressions now. Time to update this. It's not 3.5, it's like 5.5, bro. And so save that. This goes to 5.5. And you can imagine that the the content editor is pretty pleased. And I'm gonna go back to the bold testimonial because man, does it look good. So let's do this. Save, make it bold, make it pop. Hey, Thinkmill website pimped up. I think this looks great. This is a proof of concept, but I've definitely proved myself that it's possible if I wanted to spend a bunch of time to recreate all of these case studies. Basically, the trick is to recreate all the building blocks and then create basically do what we've done. If I unsplit these, no, don't close, just separate them. Basically do what we've done for one case study and do it for all of them. And you know, the sort of stuff, I just realized I was scrolling all the way. This is definitely the main area of the content. So this sort of stuff is where you probably really want to have this content layout. I think it's content layout, entry layout. So if I go in the Keystatic config, that happens at the collection level. Here, entry layout, yeah, entry layout. There's two options, content. The form is the default one with everything stacked, and content will turn into like Zen mode. You focus on your content. I don't know why this looks like a little issue here. So like I said, the composable content blocks UI is not, it's like literally we're working on the functionality first, and I think that's working extremely well actually. But if we go back to our split view with that setup, actually I thought that the fields were gonna go below, so we would always be on top, but it's not the case. Maybe there's a case to, no, because on mobile you want person to have the title first. Anyway, I'll backtrack out of it. Yes, so these are going to be much better. So what I was saying is, when you can see what's inside a container, the children, that's fine. But if you have like a leaf component or a basically a block that doesn't have children, that's kind of weird. Like you're like, what stat what? And so in that case, I think for this one, that would be pretty cool to quickly go in the content components and find the stat, this one, and add a content preview or content view. So we'll get the props and we will render whatevs. I was gonna do the, let's do an unordered list just to show you how it works. Props dot value dot data dot map, and we get a stat, I guess. And inside of here, we're gonna have to have, do I trust Copilot? We have the li, the key is stats dot, I don't trust Copilot. Stats dot. Stat index. The key is gonna be index, and then stat dot stat in strong, and then stat dot text. Yeah, this is probably, we should have used a description list for cement, but it's a preview. who cares? It's like, we're not gonna, this is internal stuff. Okay. So now by doing this, it's gonna look very bare bones, but at least we have a stat here. And the cool thing is you can, I think, oh, can you? Can I go back to 3.5M? No, I don't think so. Well, that would have been sick, but it doesn't make sense that you can edit text like this because it's literally an array of, so you go in here and then you change that here back to 3.5 million and the update should update up here. So I don't know. It's just something to kind of give information to the person. It's like, I need to edit stats and, oh yeah, this is here. This is not 34, it's 37. Instead of just a blank stat. And then by all means, knock yourself out and just style it to make it look like. And that's what I was saying. If the stats component was a React component instead of that. Oh, well, I mean, even if so, because there's Tailwind classes, you would import and it wouldn't work now because the admin UI doesn't include Tailwind, but it might very well in the future. So let's do a recap. Actually, let's do a diff. Let's pop out of Zen mode because I don't know how to go there without Zen mode, without the icon. What have I done? I know that the command is weird because it's like Control-Shift-G. Okay, let's try that. Zen mode, Control-Shift-G. Could not resolve sanity JSON. Man, we are not in sanity. Oh. Okay. Let's close that. Make that a bit smaller. I'll close. Okay. So let's look at what we've done. Oh my God. Let's look at what we've done from the diffing in our Keystatic config. We have started using the experimental markdoc field and created 4 custom components: container, stats, text, image, and testimonial. And then I've added one more collection, which is, it's cool to look at the diff, honestly, as a recap. We've added a collection called case studies. Voila. And basically it's fairly simple, but then it has this content field that has these 4 components, which is these composable custom blocks. These components have been created here. So we have a wrapper for the container that has the props mapped to what it's expected to be doing. And that's based on the existing components. I didn't invent that from scratch. I've literally mapped to what fields are currently existing on this component. I've literally made them work with what we have now. And so by doing this, we were able to create this. Yeah, okay, so I know how to toggle Zen mode, and I always do that, Command KZ, but I don't know how to toggle the GitHub. Like if I go in Zen mode, I know that if I go Shift Option E, it opens the Explorer, and if I go Shift Option X, it opens the extension. But I don't know how to open the Git because it says Shift Control G. Oh, well, it worked this time. Last time it did some sanity stuff. Shift Control, yeah. All the other ones are Shift Command. This one is Shift Control, and that's throwing me. Anyway, I just worked that. So by creating these content components and adding them to the collection in the Keystatic config, I was able to create this markdoc file that uses containers and stat blocks and text and image blocks and basically everything that we want it to do. And as a result, The last thing that we had to do, this is irrelevant. I've just added stuff so I could, so the Tailwind classes could work in the demo, but don't worry about it. I will actually undo that. The last thing that is my least favorite thing is we had to configure in the mark.config all these custom, they're called tags. There's a container, the stat, text, and image. And I've done a terrible job at putting strings for everything until it goes away. But with these subtle changes, I can whip case study blocks. Save everything. I'm not gonna ship anything. I'm just publishing to the, I'm on the case studies in Keystatic branch. So I genuinely think that this is pretty cool. So now if I go to GitHub, Keystatic, no, not Keystatic, GitHub, Thinkmill website v5. What? That? Definitely not merge that. I don't think I'll create the draft pull request actually, because people will start looking at. But yeah, this is very cool. Like, if I was to receive this PR, it's like, oh, looks like there's new fields. Okay, new case study stuff. What are these? I don't know. Oh, there they are. They're set in the mark.config. Okay, there's a new file generated. And here are the custom content components. This is actually, okay, this is kind of placeholder. We probably would remove that, but this is actually a really nice PR to review. Like it doesn't, imagine if I was refactoring the image and explaining we need to now pass the Keystatic cloud image object, so we need to refactor how the whole image that are connected to the avatars that are connected to the whatever. This would become hell and would never get merged. But this is actually really neat. You know what? I'm gonna go draft pull request. I hope you like it. Don't merge it though. But take a look. I will just make that draft PR. Because it will make someone's day, yeah? They will go here and be like, oh, case study blocks, what's that? And then they'll go look here and see that, and it's pretty concise. And if by any chance it deploys, I don't know if it will with all the formatting. Like I didn't have Prettier working, so it might have some pipeline build errors. But if they see that page and they're like, oh, there's a new case studies index Astro page, and they visit it, they might be wowed. And then they might try edit the content in the CMS, which is pretty cool. So I think this is going to be where I stop the stream. It's 12:20. I've been online for 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's, I think, my best stream so far. It's gone very swimmingly, and we were able to create this really cool, let me show you one more time what we've created. This is the real case study, which has a highlight section, a stat section, left, right, text, testimonial. This is another stacked text image we could build with the existing stuff. This is another testimonial. This is another text. We could probably build the whole case. I was going to say I should do it quickly, but I want to stop. I want to stop doing the one more thing. I think we have all the building blocks for the whole Rugby Australia case study, and we need to do the header and stuff. Of course, certain other case studies have more things, like there's a video looping. That's okay. Let's check. We have the stats. We have that. 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 We don't have this, but we have the, unless the image is a GIF. We have the stats. We have that. We have hey, I think I've done more. I don't know about this one. I feel like I've done more than I'm thinking. Anyway, our version of this, if I go, is that the live side? Yeah, okay. Let's find where the actual, yeah, this is our version of things that I've built based on the Rugby Australia. But we've done the highlight section, we've done the stats, the image. It was on the right, but I've put it on the left just to demo. And I've made the testimonial bold because I love how it looks. This is how it looks on the Thinkmill homepage. If you scroll to the bottom, there is a testimonial, and I always enjoy watching it. It just looks nice. All right. I'm going to wrap things up. Hopefully you learned a lot. I've learned a lot, or not necessarily learned, but I've consolidated a lot of assumptions and understandings. And I actually like this composition. I feel like I can build almost anything that I can think of. It's just about mapping the props correctly and then choosing the right primitives, building blocks, like is it a wrapper? Is it a block? Is it inline? Is it repeating? And you've seen I made the testimonial as a block first. And then I realized, oh no, it's expecting children nodes for the actual text. So I've turned it into a wrapper, and then it gave me the ability to do that. And we've done some very lightweight preview via the content preview for the stats block. So content view lets you render whatever and access the props. So you can just build any JSX React tree that you want. You can have if statement, or well, not if, but like ternary operators and all that stuff, and go nuts. I'm super happy with all of this. And on that note, if there's no more questions or comments, because I am hungry and tired, I'm going to stop the stream after an hour, 3 hours, 22 minutes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the suggestions, the tips. I feel like this was a good stream. I've showed a lot of things that I wanted to show. I haven't got stuck for 6 weeks in a problem space like we did last time when we were trying to sort out how to import dynamic images in Astro. So this makes Keystatic look good. It makes me look good. It makes Astro look good. I think it's a win. And most importantly, hopefully you had a bit of fun and your eyes are open to the possibilities of what Keystatic can do. It's free, it's open source, able to use it. So go ahead, try it, let us know. And thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.